Now let's see if I can actually make this slideshow do what I want it to do.
Are you singing?
R-O-T-A-R-Y, and land and sea. From north, south, from east to west, they profit most who serves the best. R-O-T-A-R-Y, that spells Rotary. All right. So that's enough of that. So moving on. So I would ask if we could all join in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. We obviously have a whole lot of guests today. So I will let everybody at this point, if you want to introduce yourselves. So if you want to unmute to introduce yourselves, that would be perfect.
This is Jeff Reed, Fond du Lac Morning.
Hi, Jeff.
This is Kathy Brumfield from Atlanta, Georgia, Dunwoody Club.
Hi, Kathy.
Hello. Ada Timke from Oshkosh, Rotary Club.
Rick Ottness, also from the Dunwoody Rotary Club and a friend of Don's for at least 12 years.
Hi, Rick.
Hi, this is Tanya Watson. I'm a friend of Don, and I'm calling from beautiful Flagstaff, Arizona.
Hi, Tanya.
This is Craig Burnett from Southwest Rotary.
Hi, Craig.
I'll jump in, Mr. Director. I'm Frank Yakimchuk from Alberta, Canada, and I'm a friend of Andy DeWitt from our club in England, Innovation. So thanks for the invitation, Andy. Peace.
Hi, Frank. All right, and at one point I thought I saw Todd Slagter was also with us from Southwest Rotary. And I think that may be everyone. All right. So it's got to be something. So yeah, that, and Karen even mentioned that she got it. So we know that one must work. All right. So with the raffle, my thought is let's kind of put it on hold. We can keep whatever's in the pot for now. And once we start meeting in person again, we can start that back up. But for now, we'll just kind of put it on hold. But I figured, we're going to keep things as close to similar as we possibly can. And so I figured I'd mention that.
How much is in the pot?
Ada, do you remember how much is in the pot right now?
$110.
110? No, I thought it was 60, but I can't really remember. I thought when we first started it was 60.
I think it's 110, but
Okay.
don't forget by the time we meet, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
All right. So next, Marge, I'm going to kind of put you on the spot here, if you wouldn't mind.
That's fine. After our board met last week, there were conversations with Lisa's current host family and with her natural parents. And the conclusion was that it was best for Lisa to return home. So she will be leaving from Chicago tomorrow morning and arriving back in Sweden sometime the following day. I think her travel arrangements are Chicago to Newark and then Newark to Stockholm. So one of my fears was she'd land in another European country like Amsterdam and be stuck there. But it looks like we'll get her directly to her home in Sweden. Her parents are relieved that she's coming home. So, and I did get some questions about whether we gave her a farewell gift, and we did. If you remember at Christmas, we got her a charm bracelet, and then at her birthday, we added some charms. We added 4 more charms at the end of it. So she's got about a dozen charms representing various facets of the time that she spent here. I also told her if she came back, I am sure our Rotary Club would welcome her. We can't put her back in school, but we could help her continue to have an experience here once it's safe.
Thank you, Marge. Does anybody have any questions with regards to that process?
No, but I found the thumbs up, so that's one way that we can or denote that we like the idea. I don't like it, but it's the best option.
Right. Okay. Obviously, there's a few things that are on the cancellation list for right now. The district conference has been canceled. I know we had talked about that. The pop-up restaurant fundraiser has been pushed off. The flower sale and breakfast with the bunny. Those were all of the things that I could think of that I knew were canceled. Is there anything else that anybody else had going on that needs to go onto this list?
Michael, we'd picked out a date for the spring cleanup of South Park, and that's now going to fall into the next time. So we're going to be canceling that as well.
Okay, so South Park cleanup will also be canceled. All right. So I guess one of the ways we could do this, I don't know if we're interested in continuing to try to do Happy Dollars in this format, but we could keep track of who's happy, and we can, you can send in your money and we can collect it that way, or we'll just send Jolene after you to collect. But whatever, we'll figure it out. But at this point, does anybody want to be happy?
I can start. I'll give $5 of happiness for the break in the normal harried running day-to-day that we've had. So I'm not saying that this is a blessing in disguise, but it has been a change in our family to really reconnect as the 4 of us and have dinner around the table every single night instead of like passing ships. So I do appreciate that part of what this safer at home order is. But I'll give $5 being with the fam.
I'm on my first Zoom meeting. I actually got it. Yeah. That's funny. I was muted by my host. They heard me talking out loud. Well, my video isn't working, so I called them and ran some ads and they're gonna do that.
Well, I'll give $5 for our international visitors because this makes, I think, maybe our first international meeting outside of EAA.
Thank you, Sue. Anyone else wish to be happy?
This is Tom Simon. I joined in late, and I'm also very happy that you don't have to go with the video option because I didn't shave today. But I would like to just say $5 I will give when we start going back, just in thanks that there's things like technology that allow this to happen. And if you think about it, we've got people from all over the nation and internationally at this meeting because of this. We'll get through this, and I'll contribute a few dollars each week till we get back together.
Great. Okay, so obviously, we've kind of been playing with this theme a little bit lately. I don't think that anybody could have possibly imagined how accurate this might have had to become when this was picked as the Rotary theme for this year. But I appreciate the fact that I still get to see all of you and talk to all of you, and this hasn't been a real easy presidency. But hey, that's what you sign up for when you sign up to be president. So hopefully, Ada, you won't have anything quite this exciting, and John, I hope you don't have anything quite this exciting either. I guess at this point, I will turn it over to Don and to Andy to be our speakers for today.
Michael, I'm sorry. Are there going to be, I guess I should have emailed you beforehand. Is there an opportunity to do additional announcements for the club?
Yes, absolutely.
Later, or?
Let's do it now.
May I start?
Sure.
Just so everybody knows, until we hear otherwise, we are registered and scheduled to do Waterfest. We haven't been given our date yet, although I only put in for the dates in July and August so that we could potentially still do that. The other thing that we're still doing, the blood drive that is scheduled for this coming Monday is still on. They need blood sources. They need the not revenue. They need the blood. It will still be at Algoma Boulevard United Methodist Church. It is by appointment only, and I can send the link for that to be. I can send that for everybody. You'll see there's a lot of different measures going on. They will be taking your temperature before you're even allowed in the building, but there's going to be a lot of stuff handled. We're not going to obviously do the spread that we usually do, but I just want you to know that the blood drive is still on. It's from 11:45 to 5:30 at night. We are about 70% full already of people coming to donate blood. So, and if you want to talk more about that, you can reach out to me personally. As far as the flower sale is concerned, we did choose to not do that this year, but I will ask that Hernax is the local florist that always does that for us. They still have all of the geraniums, and we were going to do hanging baskets this year. They made an additional couple dozen hanging baskets just for us to try out. They are agriculture, so they are still an essential business. When it gets time to, if we are not released from this Mother's Day weekend, and if we are still sheltering and being safer at home, they will do a delivery service. If you had a whole bunch of ones that you ordered in the past, they can deliver them to you. They also said that although people aren't allowed in their showroom, they will have their outdoor Quonset hut, I don't remember what it was called, but they'll have their outdoor thing that will be allowed, in which only a few people will be allowed to go through it at a time. So if you can support Hernax with their geraniums and all that, then that's fantastic. That'd be great if you could go over there. And I guess on a side note, helping out, we used to always hold the flower sale over at Lourdes, but with the school in session, it had a couple of issues, and so what we did is we then moved it to the hotel once we got back to the hotel. However, Lourdes Academy, their sports organization, they have a flower sale too. They were not as fortunate as us and were not allowed to cancel their order, and they make a huge order of cash and carry, and it's some nice stuff that they have, and it's also the same weekend. So if you're potentially looking for flats of impatiens and stuff, because that's something that they also carried, or other hanging baskets, please reach out to me and I'll be happy to send you that information, or Karen Schneider of the paper. She's the one that was running it today, and they all of a sudden realized that the place that they bought it from, which is over in Coloma, will not let them go back or dwindle or do whatever for their order. So they're looking at literally eating, if you want to call it that, a lot of revenue from the cash and carry sales they would have done. So if you want to do that, feel free to reach out and help out another organization that was not as fortunate as us in order to cancel that. And that's all I have.
Thank you, Lori. Anyone else with a announcement?
This is Sue. I just want to quickly remind people that if you haven't registered to get your absentee ballot to vote, you can do that. I don't remember what the last day is. It might be today. But they also have early voting at City Hall, because I've been doing that for the last couple of days and we'll be there all week taking early voting at City Hall. So if you want to skip the lines and potential exposure on April 7th, get your absentee ballot. Thanks.
Thank you, Sue. And I'll also put in a plug for Sue's coffee is going to be on Thursday, also being done virtually. And then also our happy hour, we're going to try to do the happy hour also, which will be tonight virtually as well. So if you're interested in joining, you can. So there will be emails with the links so that you can click in to join those if you are interested in doing that. I've already actually preset the email to go out. I think it'll go out at about the end of this meeting. An email will magically show up to all of you from me about the happy hour for tonight.
Don't forget to include our international visitors.
Yes, if anybody wants to join in, we are absolutely willing to send around the link to more people as well. All right. So if there's no other announcements, I will turn it over to Don and Andy for who are our speakers today.
So thank you, Michael. So yeah, wanted to talk about Rotary and how we deal with our physical separation and social connection in today's world. And my co-presenter is Andy DeWitt. Andy has been a Rotarian since May of 1999. And then he helped establish the Northwest Wisconsin E-Club about 6 years ago. He was club president in the 2015-16 year, which is at the tail end of that is when my paths started crossing a lot more. He is president-elect this year, so he's a repeat, and is going to be president of his club next year. One of the interesting ways that his path and my paths crossed is at the Toronto Rotary International Convention. I went to the breakout session on best practices for e-clubs, and Andy was one of the presenters from here in Oshkosh. They were using a Zoom meeting as a way to talk about that. So that's one of the reasons why I wanted to have Andy share his experience.
And Don joined Rotary in 2007. This is his fourth Rotary Club in 5th Rotary District. Member of the Rotarians on Social Network Fellowship since 2012 as Rotarians on Social Networks Fellowship. Didn't know if there was one, so I saw that. He was president of the E-Club of Southwest USA, December 16 through June 18. If I remember right, that was the second E-Club, Don, in the country?
Second E-Club chartered, yes.
Okay. And he is currently the assistant district trainer for 6270.
So obviously, don't really have to spend a lot of time talking about how COVID-19 is disrupting life. The one thing that I do I like to use the term physical distancing rather than social distancing, because we are social creatures. And as we've seen with our own club, it is produced a situation where we have a difficult time holding our traditional meetings, same place and same time. And that's kind of going to be a theme that you'll see us talk about throughout this presentation. But one of the things that I think is important to kind of look back at is back when I was in Ohio in 2013, Rotary International had a membership campaign where their 3 taglines were join leaders, exchange ideas, and take action. At the Atlanta Convention in 2017, they launched the marketing campaign of People of Action. And so isolation and Rotary are opposite ends of a spectrum. And so what we want to do here today is talk about how we can try and get the join those 2 areas together. Again, as I said, what alluded to earlier, humans are social creatures. We evolved from couples to clans to larger communities. Social interaction forms the basis in our families, our governments, and our global economy. Social interaction plays a major part in our mental health. And for most, social distancing, being quarantined, is not in our nature. So it's time for us to be thinking outside of the box, and our ability to be agents of change is dependent on connecting with each other during this time of physical distancing. Last week, there was an email from Rotary International on membership, and one of the lines in there was, resist the temptation to be paralyzed, take action with fellow Rotarians. And so since Zoom is the predominant tool that Rotarians tend to use to meet, and Andy has the most experience with that, I'm going to hand it over to Andy.
Okay. Now we're showing you techniques how to share screens and everything and see how successful we are. Okay. Okay, Zoom, you might have heard about it, it's on the news a lot. A lot of companies and other people are using Zoom. It is a way to do interactive meetings in there. And on this slide, it kind of shows you how things lay out. You have live meetings. You can have on demand, almost like you do on Netflix and things, anywhere or a fixed location. And traditional meeting is at the same place at the same time. Whereas a Zoom meeting is the same time, but different places. We've got Frank from Alberta, Canada, us all over Oshkosh, different places. That's what Zoom meetings can do, and it can be interactive. Some of the things, this is how to do a Rotary meeting. The first thing, as you all know, because you're already participating, is you do need to load the software onto your device. In order to host a paid version, costs about $120 a year using a discount we can get through Rotary. And that's what we're using today. It's a single host, up to 100 people at a time. But there's also a free version, which only allows you to have a meeting for 40 minutes long. So if you want to try it out for other things, free to sign up for an account. To participate, you have to download the Zoom app, of course. You don't need a license, don't need an account. It can be used on PCs, Macintoshes, iPhones, and other devices and tablets. The next thing you have to do is train the participants, which we're doing today. And so roughly all of you got on the meeting, so you're already partly trained. One thing, we are doing a meeting, the speaker should not be the host. The host and co-host, you should always have at least 2 co-hosts, act as the sergeant at arms controlling the meeting, which Don is doing now. He's kind of controlling, looking at who's chatting, who's doing what, turning, muting people on and off. That's what a co-host does. The speaker should be concentrating on his message and talking. So that's why you should, a good practice to have co-hosts separately from the speaker, which right now Don and I are violating. As you can see, you can share screens, you can share PowerPoints, you can share videos, which Don's going to do a little later. And your club's going to be using the participants in chat room, which we'll both talk about in a second. Some hints though about backlighting. And here's some screenshots. Normally you do not want a bright window behind you or bright lights. You want more light in front of you. Otherwise you get one of these two shots. You get you're glared out or it's all bled out. So think about your backlighting when you're setting up your screen meeting or participating. More important for a speaker to make sure you watch your lighting. Next is the camera angle. A lot of you are using your laptops and your camera is below your face. When you get this kind of shot, you get the nice shot of the screens. The best practice, especially if you're a speaker, is try to have the camera about eye level. And that way you are more likely to get a better shot of what we're doing. And 1 second. Now, to use the participant manager, so you can see this is how you're going to use to raise your hand to do Q&A sessions and to do chat. If you look at the bottom of your screen, there's a window called well, first of all, I'm sorry. First thing, upper right-hand corner, you want to make sure that you are in a, you can use that little square to maximize your screen so it fills up your screen that you're looking at. Also, most of you should see this over to the left in the window there. It says enter full screen. You should see that. Because you don't want to be in full screen, otherwise you don't see the participants in the chat like you see in my screen on the right. The next, you want to use, see my arrows off here. On the bottom of your screen, there's manage participants. You can do this now. If you click on that, and you should see the screen come up on the right-hand side with all the participants. Within that screen, next to your name, box, that's where you can see where to raise your hand. Or your thumbs up. Kathy found out how you do it. Thumbs up, that's how you do that up there too. But if you raise your hand within that participant box, the co-host can see who is raising their hand for a question in order that they raise their hand. So the co-host can call on you to speak at that time. If you go over to the next square under chat on the bottom of your screen, if you do that, click on that, you open up the chat window on the right-hand side, and then you can chat to each other or to the group. You can add links to different events and things like that, or files. So you can talk amongst each other during the meeting, or you can ask questions during the meeting. And if you click on everyone, the chat goes to everyone in the meeting, or you can click that little arrow down there and select a specific person to send a link to. Like you say, Karen, you're crunching your food too much. A private message to Karen, you can do something like that. Now, we're turning it back over to Don.
So yeah, we're using Google Slides. So we're using the same presentation, but we're able to change our who's sharing at any moment. So so I wanted to talk about Facebook Live. It is another technology that's out there for being able to do different place, different time. So it is a live streaming service that anybody that has a Facebook account or a Facebook page can do a live streaming. So they can host a meeting like this. One of the advantages is we get as broadcaster, you can choose who on Facebook gets to view your broadcast and your recordings. Another advantage is that viewers can comment in real time. I don't know, some of the shows that I see, people are doing live video and you see all of the comments scrolling up on screen. Essentially, that's a Facebook Live example. Now, Facebook Live was added to was a feature added to Facebook back in April of 2016, and thanks to past RI Vice President Jennifer Jones, Rotary International actually jumped onto this bandwagon real early. Early in the year, John Germ and Jennifer Jones held a fireside chat kind of Facebook session. In April of 2017, Jennifer Jones was here while we did a Rolling with Rotary water project. And I was doing a live feed at the same time that Jennifer Jones was. And in case you're interested, I am putting a link into the chat so you can see the view that I recorded back at that point here in Oshkosh. So one of the disadvantages of Facebook Live is you are limited to a single camera. So whoever Facebook page is, that's who you're going to see with Facebook. There is technology that's available out there. The one that I have used is something called B.Live. B.Live gives you the ability to do a solo, just what Facebook Live does, a face-to-face, so two people can be talking, or you can actually even go to a talk show format. So almost take it to the same level that we have today with Zoom, as we're seeing. Another reason why that I liked using this is it was available to schedule. And when we were in Atlanta for my e-club, we scheduled a Facebook Live meeting where those of us that were in Atlanta and those that from in the district came to an apartment, and we were able to communicate with other members right from Atlanta. B.Live is not the only one that's out there. I did a quick survey last week, and here's 3 others that are available out there. I've not used them. There were some others that have had potential, but because of some security issues or inline ads, I didn't feel comfortable as recommending them as something that Rotary would be safe for Rotary clubs to use. So the next one is Facebook groups. And going back off of same time, same place, or same time, different place, Facebook groups gives us the ability to communicate different place and different times. So, so it fills up this little quadrant down here in the corner. So there is a difference between a Facebook group and a Facebook page. A Facebook page is the profile for the organization. So we have a Facebook page where it's the ability for us to communicate to the world what we're doing as a club. There are 3 different kinds of Facebook groups: open, closed, and secret. And as the naming applies, the more you go from open to secret, you close off who can see and who can participate in there. When I was president of my e-club, they had a Facebook group that they were using as a Facebook page. I created a Facebook page and then transferred it from being a closed group to a secret group. This allowed us some greater flexibility as far as what we could do with that. So, for example, we can use Facebook groups as a way to notify each other of upcoming events on a more personal nature. We can also use that as a way to plan future events and meetings. one of the issues that commonly comes up with email is the last email that you read was the one that you think is where you're at in the conversation. Facebook groups get a little bit better serialization of the conversation that occurs. And then you can also share posts and photos with other members. You can also use it to kind of say, hey, you know, I'm having this issue, or you know, so that we can reach out and be aware of what's going on in each other's lives without necessarily being completely open kimono to the rest of the world. Andy's club, the Northwest Wisconsin E-Club, uses their Facebook private group, for planning their business and to work on service projects. So, you know, both of us have had the experience of being able to use this tool effectively. So up to this point, we've been pretty much talking about how do we have meetings, how do we have, you know, club meetings, how can we have business meetings? And as I alluded to in the introduction, we're still social creatures. We still want to get together and we want to communicate with each other. So how can we do that? Well, I'm still going to go back to Zoom. With a free Zoom account, you can have a maximum of 100 people in a session at one time. And yes, at 40 minutes, it gets cut off. However, everybody can log back into that same meeting and you get another 40 minutes. You can also have unlimited time for one-on-one. The next one is Skype. Skype's been around a lot longer than Zoom, and it's still very much a viable technology. The maximum number of people that you can have within a group Skype call is 50 people. Facebook Messenger will allow for video conversations. Again, 50 people max. Personally, I would have a hard time trying to carry on a meaningful conversation with 50 people off my phone screen, but it's still possible. Google Duo, some of you may have known it as Google Hangouts. They've fixed it up. It's maximum of 8 people. Now, the reason why I have an asterisk on there is some information that's going around in the technical world about that they've secretly updated it to allow 12 people per Google Duo conversation, even though their website still says 8. WhatsApp, it will, while most of it is voice and chat, text, you can still have 4 people doing a video conversation. And then also group FaceTime. It's a maximum of 32 people that you can have on this. Now, each one of these is a closed environment. You either have to have a product such as Apple for FaceTime, or you need to have an account to host something on Zoom and with Skype and Messenger and those middle 4, you need to actually have an account within those. So so with that, I'm going to move on into questions and answers. And I was looking over at the participation screen, and yes, I apologize, Andy, for saying Northeast. or northwest instead of northeast. You know, that's one problem of having been to the Southwest Club. Yeah, there's some old habits that I have to deal with. The other thing is I did get a question from Sue Panic about making this PowerPoint available, a presentation available. And the answer is yes. It is available, and I've actually already loaded the PDF on our club website, and there will be more details. So, any questions?
Very nice presentation.
I have one. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so pardon my ignorance here. I'm a gearhead, not a tech head. So on my old computer, my Toshiba, I was getting Zoom, and now I can't get it. So I think it's just not supported anymore. It's Windows 7. So I have a new laptop this December, Dell with Windows 10, I believe. But I having a hard time downloading Zoom. What do I download? I just put zoom.us, and it's asking me 15 questions of what to download, and nothing seems to work. So I'm back on my iPhone. The iPhone works because I have the app on it. So do I start with an app? And on a new, fresh computer, where do I go to get the app? It said Microsoft Apps, but you're talking to a gearhead, not a tech head. So make it simple.
Okay. Yes, you do need to download the app, and I can send you an email, Jack, with the link that will take you to the proper place on the Zoom website where you'll be able to download the app and install it on your laptop.
That sounds simple. I like that.
And the other thing, if you start a Zoom meeting for somebody else, you send them the invite and they log in that link. If they don't have the Zoom app on their computer, the first thing they'll do is ask you if you want to download the app. You just say yes or whatever to prove it, and it will download the app onto your device that way as well.
Okay. Well, I thought I did that, but apparently I'm obviously not doing something right. So I guess I'll take it one step at a time and see how we get there.
Okay.
Because somebody, you know, and Michael sent the login and the ID. The only place I got that was on my cell phone, on my iPhone. I couldn't get that far on these other ones. So I'll be patient, and thank you, Andy, and thank you, Don.
Don, the question I have follows up on Jack's question, maybe. And that is, does Zoom work just through a web browser, through a Zoom site, or is it always better to use the app?
It only runs in an app. You can use the web browser to open up the Zoom meeting, and when you click on the app within the browser, it will start the app on your computer and provide it with the meeting ID and, as in the case of this one, the password, so that you get logged right into the meeting and don't have to provide that information.
So you should probably send that email to everybody, not just Jack.
Okay.
Because it is much easier to see it on your laptop or the bigger this computer screen, the better it is.
Yeah, and I would also imagine it's better for sharing too.
Yes.
I mean, if you're looking to share a photo or a PowerPoint or, you know, or a document or something with someone, that it's probably better to be on your laptop where all those files are than on an iPad or an iPhone or something like that.
Yep.
Hey, Don, this is John Jorgensen.
Hey, John.
Hey, when I'm looking at the top left of my screen, it says recording. Does that just mean it's running, or am I really recording something on my computer?
Okay, that is indicating that I am recording this meeting.
Oh, got it.
Which is actually a nice feature from the standpoint of, if you're in a Zoom meeting, you want to know if you're being recorded or not.
It's a-
And there's sometimes I'm in a Zoom meeting and we're having a confidential kind of conversation that we don't necessarily want other people to know, to be privy of. And so that's a nice security feature. So thank you for noticing that, John.
It's also a legal requirement in some states, if you're recording visually or audio, the other party has to be notified that you are recording, and that qualifies as a notification. So, so if you have people from, I don't know about Canada, Frank can tell, maybe we have to tell Frank he's being recorded. That would indicate that we are telling him that. And so that's a legal requirement as well.
One next question, Don. What is the protocol? Like when you have a big group like this, how, I mean, I see you can raise your hand or get your attention by speaking or being the first one to speak like I just did. But what is generally a protocol like this when we're trying to get into a conversation? Just start speaking and hopefully you get in first?
I'm going to defer that one to Andy.
In larger groups, you should always use the participant raise a hand. That's which I see Lori's got her hand raised right now. Rick had his hand raised before, and you the host can mute everybody out. So you can't, we can lock you out. You can't unmute unless the host lets you. The larger the meeting, the more dictatorial you have to be to control the meeting. Smaller meetings, you let just let people talk. Another process, another club I go online with, they raise their hand this way. You know, like that. And then the host uses it and it calls on them. The difficulty is if you start going to multiple screens, if you're in another screen, the host may not see you waving your hand. So the larger the group, more likely you need to use, and Don says you guys are going to use the participant and you raise your hand. And okay, and so Laura, go ahead. You got a call.
Where do you find that raise your hand thing?
If you open up on the bottom, the manager participants on the bottom of the screen.
Okay. Oh, I see it. Got it.
And then next to your name, you hover over your name. You can see lower hand, up, raise your hand.
Right. Got it. Thank you.
Okay, Lori, you have a question?
No, I was just giving an example so you could refer to me.
Okay. John, I'm gonna, okay, anybody else? Rick, you had a question earlier, you had your hand up.
Yes, I was just wondering, Don was kind enough to send a link, a URL that I could just click on to get here. How does one do that if one has the ability to generate a meeting?
Oh, good question. If you go to Zoom and you have an account, at that point you have to have an account, free or paid, and you can start a meeting. And the two things you'll come up with, you'll pick a random meeting ID number, or you can set up a permanent one. My club has a permanent one for our Thursday night get-togethers, so it's always the same number. The second thing you'll have over there when you would start, unfortunately I can't share that screen with you, but if you start a meeting, over on the right-hand side of starting the meeting menu, it says it creates an invite. And you copy the invite, and that's what Don did. He copied the invite and pasted it in the email, and has the links and everything in it automatically. And when you start a meeting, you have a choice to have it with or without a password. Don chose to use a password for this meeting. And the reason you might want to consider that is Zoom bombing is occurring. If you have a public meeting without a password, people have been getting into the meeting and putting inappropriate pictures on the screen. So by having a password, a little more control, that's another reason you should have two co-hosts. The co-host can cut people off pretty quick. So, no, there it is. Don found a way to post it up there. This is how you schedule a meeting. Go ahead, Don.
So I'm just going to take some very basic information just to get a meeting scheduled, and this is from my other Zoom account that I have, which is limits to 40 minutes for three or more people. So the date, the time, how much, and what time zone, if it's going to be a recurring meeting, all of that other stuff. So once I save it, I have all of the information here. So there's a link right here of copy the invitation. And there, all I have to do is copy, paste that information, put it into an email, and everything's good to go. Sometimes I take it just as is. Other times I will do some simple editing on it to kind of clean it up.
You can also paste that into a Facebook page or a group discussion on Facebook, that same link. So how do you ever communicate to the group?
So quick follow-up question. If I took that link and sent it to someone, they should be able to click on it and enter a meeting that's ongoing on my account, right?
If the host is logged in,
Yeah.
yeah, the meeting starts.
So I can start with myself, but send out an email to 5 people and they could click on it to join without anything else going on, correct?
Yeah.
Great, thank you.
I'm going to follow up that a little bit. There is an option to have everybody wait until the host arrives, or participants can join before the host. And right now I'm setting up a lot of my meetings that the participant can join before the host, because we're new to this and don't want to have people going, what's going on? Why isn't this working? Because I haven't gotten logged in yet.
Excellent, thank you.
Any other questions?
I think that we seem to have run out of questions.
Okay, so here's the obligatory contact page for Andy and myself. Down at the bottom, you'll see a shortened web link, which is this presentation as a PDF that you can download for future reference. Between Andy and I, we'll figure out how to get this out on YouTube so that people can see what's going on there. And so I always like to try and tie back to the Rotary International Vision Statement, because this is the time of where we can really stop, we hit a pause button and we can start thinking about how do we want to create lasting change. Yesterday, I was listening to the radio and I heard Larry Brilliant, who was one of the doctors who helped the UN campaign for eradicating smallpox, say, the science was the magic, people were the miracle. For this, Zoom is Zoom and other meeting technology is the magic. Rotarians are the miracle. So the physical world that we see is currently limited from the view of our windows. With the technology at our fingertips, most Rotarians, we can still unite and take action to create lasting change. So please join Andy and me in helping maintain our Rotary social connections in this time of physical separation.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Don. Thank you, Andy. At this point, if everyone could join me in the 4-way test of the things that we think, say, and do. First, is it true? Is it spiritual?
Concern.
Will it build better friendships?
Better friendships. Will it be beneficial
Concern.
to all concerned?
Thank you, everyone.
Okay, Karen, don't look so surprised. And David's sitting back there in his dark room under